Welcome to Adventures of Lollygagging. We are back. We're playing more Swords of the Serpentine today. This is our second episode. Vincent will be joining us shortly. Long's just run a little late, but we're going to get started anyway. We're going to start playing, etc. Go through some things. Yeah, I'm excited. I had a lot of fun last week. I hope you all had fun. Yeah. Okay, so let's just dive right in. I got a recap, but before I hit that, let's get some. I want to go through some quick reminders here before we dive in. I know we talked. I can't remember if we talked about this off stream, but refresh tokens. You all had. I think I credited you for having 6 refresh tokens for defeating the house guards. So refresh tokens. I think some of you use them. But with refresh tokens, effectively, you can exchange one of them to get a point back in a general ability pool. Doesn't refresh your whole pool. It's just one general ability point per player, per person that spends them. These will come and go at the end of a scene. I'm going to say the scene is the necropolis. As long as you guys stay at the necropolis, that's the scene. And once we leave the necropolis, those are gone. So if you want to use them, you want to use them before the scene ends, basically. But you'll have opportunities in other scenes to get them. Whether we're doing combat or whether you're just overcoming challenges and stuff like that, you'll have opportunities to get them. And then for us, what we're going to do for our audience, because I know we do audience participation, what we're going to do is audience boosts. So that most people give us bits in intervals of 100. So you're going to have one audience boost is going to give you 1 extra refresh token per scene. And then if you want to, at some point, once per adventure, you all can cash in 5 audience boosts to get 1 point of an investigative ability back. Because normally investigative abilities, you don't really refresh them unless there's some huge or important thing that the GM wants to give you. So we'll just treat it that way. Okay. All right. So I think looking at our numbers, we have 1 refresh token left. So I think you guys use some. And then we've got looks like 4 audiences. So keep that in mind as you kind of continue. So last time around, all of you were tasked with representing the main Wallen family, which is your ancestral noble family here in Eversink. You were tasked with representing them during the Tidebreakers Day celebrations. Tidebreakers Day is what we created during our session 0, specifically a holiday within Giglio Hill, which is our neighborhood in Alderhall, where you all have your estate, and a couple other noble families have it as well. And it celebrates the Putrid Tide, which was a day many, many, many generations ago when the commoners tried to they rose up and they tried to overthrow the nobles, and the main Wallens and some of the other families gathered together to squash down those annoying little peasants. So you all were representing the family at this parade. You escorted the parade through its usual route all the way up the hill of the necropolis. And as you went into the Wing of the Martyrs, which is where the noble heroes of the Putrid Tide, their funerary statues are kept, you discovered that there was a dead body of a relatively unknown lesser Bonaventure. And he was brutally murdered at that. Fortuna and Chauncey, you were holding back the very curious parade crowd, while a couple others, including Arkadiy and Vincent, Solavita, and then members of the Bonaventures, who are your family's rivals, the Carnuccios, a very devout Denari or Church of Denari aligned noble family. All of you kind of went inside, started to investigate. The body had been repeatedly stabbed, hung from a broken statue, which is a big deal, of a Carnuccio ancestor. And Arcadiy, you had discovered some tracks that shouldn't probably have been there, considering the time of day, and that no one would have been in here prior to the parade. And then using his spirit sight ability, Vincent saw a ghost that was hiding in one of the alcoves. Solavita and Tommaso Bonaventure, you were looking at the corpse. Solavita, you noticed that the man's lips was they were discolored, their lips and gums, and they also had this crude tattoo that did not seem to have the quality that would be befitting a noble. Tommaso also noticed that the murder weapon, which was a dagger, had your crest on it, the main Wallen crest, and so that revelation made Felipe kind of burst into a rage, Filippo Carnuccio, because he thought that your little rivalry has caused the caused this destruction of a funerary statue and put their ancestor at risk. So he got into a little bit of a fight. Felipe got one good lick on Arkadiy, but Arkadiy was able to kind of take care of the guards. Then at one point, Vincent used some of his spiritual chains to kind of bind Felipe. Elsewhere, Fortuna, you gave a Tiebreakers Day address. You preached solemn respect, et cetera, et cetera. Got some taunts, but overall, people were on your side. Chauncey, you taunted Matteo Bonaventure into a fight. You tricked him into destroying a bunch of funerary statues of other ancestors, which is really not good because it kind of like ejects them or puts them at risk from leaving Divinari's heaven. The crowd got enraged. They turned into a mob. They started chasing him across the necropolis, down the hill, out off into the neighborhood. Back inside the wing of martyrs, we saw Felipe finally came to reason, and he left, but he did swear that there would be some kind of inquest or investigation from the Church of Denari, from the City Watch. They're going to be notified. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and that's basically the last step. So we are going to start basically right where we left off. We are still in the necropolis. The crowd predominantly has fled after Matteo Bonaventure, but you can see that there's still some folks lingering. Many are mourning Chauncey, you now notice, as they start to come inside. You see some of them are kneeling down next to these broken statues and picking them up. Last we saw of you, you were holding the head and pretending it was Yorick. But you see them picking them up and mourning these different ancestor souls. You can see one of them, Chauncey, is dressed in a way that is very noticeable because they are a caretaker of the necropolis. So you see we'll say a woman in her late 40s or so. You can see that she is like with this group of people who have knelt down and are like they're picking these up, and you can see some people are trying to identify who everybody is. Like they're looking at they're piecing these parts together, looking at the base of statues. And you can see that one of these caretakers has come in as well. These are the people who, as the title would suggest, they make sure that the funerary statues are well kept. They're not broken. They make sure that, that the place is cleaned and orderly. And they're a little bit like historians in some ways. So you can see her tending to. Meanwhile, over by the dead body, Arkadiy and Solovita and Vincent, Arkadiy and Solovita, you see that Vincent's eyes are still kind of this like cloudy mass, and every now and then he's speaking, he's shouting, he's talking to somebody. You know there's a ghost there. But right as he's doing that, and maybe Arkadiy, you're leaning over, you're catching your breath, and Solovita, you're looking at the body. When you look back up, you see that he's raced away. He's gone. You hear the sounds of like footsteps as he's like running off. Even the sounds of like clinking chains, which maybe they're real or maybe they're just imagined. And he kind of disappears elsewhere into this kind of tomb like area. So I'm gonna turn it over to you guys. You guys tell me what you want to do. The body's still here to look at. Vincent is chasing after the ghost. There's some people that have arrived. There's a caretaker. Turn it over to you guys. Who wants to do something?
Solovita would want to do CSI on this body and try to figure out like how long ago it was killed. Is it still warm to the touch? Get a better sort of look at that tattoo before it's all taken away.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's. I think you've gotten some stuff already, but let's just review. Yeah. What skill do you think you're using here, or ability?
I guess it would still probably fall under, like, what I'm asking probably still falls under Leechcraft, more or less, doesn't it?
I think so. And I think you've already done a spend, so I'm not going to double dip, ask you to double dip. So let me so now that you have a little bit more time, Tommaso has stepped away. You have a little bit of time, probably, before the City Watch or an Inquisitor shows up. But some things you notice. First, the body has been stabbed dozens of times. You do notice that there is a dagger that is still in the body, and you can see that it does in fact have your family's crest on it. When you look at the tattoo, what you can tell is that it very much looks crudely done. There's no artistry whatsoever to it. And in fact, it really just kind of looks like just sort of like a snaking curve, almost like a canal, the way that they, curve and course through the city itself, and has that kind of look to it. And it's got a bluish tint in some ways. That's probably all you'd be able to get just from leechcraft. Looking at the gums and the lips, definitely ingested something. If you spent your you would guess it's probably a poison of some kind, clearly. With your spend in leechcraft, I would just give you that it's likely the type of you would know it, I guess, from a leechcraft perspective as something that older leeches, older doctors and such would use in the past. Like, they don't really do it this much anymore. There are better devices now, but they would use as like a pre-surgical kind of drug to numb people before they would like amputate or perform some kind of surgery. You're pretty sure with your studies that is kind of outdated practice, and it probably they're still around. The substance is still around, but it has a addictive quality to it, so it's not something that the leeches tend to use as much. And then the two other things I would say you would notice about the body, as you take a look, his hands, they're kind of not cut up in the sense that there's no defensive wounds. For sure, there's no defensive wounds, but they are rough. Like when you put your hands to them, they are not the hands of a Bonaventure. You've had the misfortune of having to shake hands from time to time, and they are always very soft. They are always very perfumed, and you smell that perfume. It's combating with like the smell of like the bodily fluids that are leaking out and such, but you can smell the perfume. And the last thing you would get with all the spends and time that you're attending is that the clothes, they are Bonaventure. Like, you can tell that they've got that style. He's got the powdered wig. His face has been powdered in ways that befit the Bonaventure, but they definitely appear as the clothes are very ill-fitting. They don't appear as tailored as some of the others that you might see. And I would say that's the extent of what you got. Unless you have follow-up questions that might fall under this, that's probably what you immediately observe by finally getting some time to look at this thing alone.
And just, Fortuna, did you come in sort of with the rest of the people, or are you still kind of a little bit more outside? If I turned and looked over my shoulder,
I think she came in at the end of combat. She came at the end of combat because she threw a sway attack. Fortuna, I think you did.
Yes.
So seeing her, I will kind of like give her as nonverbal head nod. We unfortunately know each other quite well. And I'm going to hold up the ill-fitting cloth to point at the canal. Maybe you recognize where this is from? To see if she knows which canal that might be. And also to point out the fact that it's rough hands to her, because she would know the Bonaventures by sight better than I would.
And Fortuna will definitely, seeing Solavita kind of hold this up to her, Fortuna will take a closer look, for sure.
I'll also give you a quick side eye to ask if you want me to steal the dagger and disappear it right now.
And okay. Fortuna will kind of shake her head because it was a point of discussion. She's thinking now. Leave it there. So she'll shake her head and she'll kind of look a little bit more closely.
I'll give you a nod.
Fortuna, do you have any points in skullduggery or what else might it be? Felonious intent or city watch as an allegiance or anything like that?
I have, running through those, I do not have felonious intent. I do not have skullduggery. I do have city's secrets.
Okay. City secrets. No,
and Forgotten Lore.
Not quite
Canal
what I would
Watchers
go for.
as a guild wouldn't count for that.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I do have Guild of Architects and Canal Watchers. Yes, thank you, good sir.
What I would tell you this is that it doesn't look like it's specifically. It's so crudely done that it's likely not a specific canal it's trying to mimic, but it's probably more a symbol that represents something. And so I would say that you would probably I would probably need like a thieves guild or a or skullduggery would probably be the most likely. But if you want,
I don't want to do all the rules, but I do have most of those things.
Well, and I think Fortuna would turn to you and say, Sola Vita, this is not map accurate, but perhaps this is more of a symbol of something that you may actually know more about than I.
Oh, let me take another look at this. And I'll also grab pull out of my pocket like a little piece of paper with like a pencil so I can take a copy of it and use skullduggery to try to view it, and maybe while writing it I recognize it more.
Okay, so I would say if you look, so if we're just sort of saying you're looking at it from the perspective of somebody who knows a bit about underworld, not, you don't have to be like completely fluent in it, but knows a bit about how the underworld works, or maybe you spend time with Vincent. This is very much a prison tattoo. It has that vibe to it. It looks like the type of thing that someone would take on. It's not. It's almost like a brand, but it's like you can tell it's been infected, and it looks like it's not in a great condition, like he's suffered from it. Doesn't look recent, doesn't look like he's had it recent. Looks like it's been here for some time, but it's got like this like bluish swelling around it. I would say without a spend you probably wouldn't be able to get more detail than that, but I think right now like you would know it's more than likely a prison.
I did the spend.
Oh, you did?
I said I was using the skullduggery.
Okay, sorry. When I think use, that's just like I'm just looking at it through this lens, and then spend is actually burning the point.
I apologize. Okay. I'm spending skullduggery to learn about this thing.
Okay, so you would know that this is a prison tat that has come up at times, and you can kind of flavor how you would get this information. It's not necessarily something that's book oriented. It's more word of mouth. It's maybe you have a friend of a friend, but there has been a trend of over the last several years with various people who have shown up dead, usually drowned to death in various canals across the city that have this symbol, and the connection seems to go back towards time in the old Summer Palace, the prison that Vincent was in. That's elsewhere in the city. You would probably know that the City Watch has struggled to find exactly who it connects back to, but it is something that has popped up from time to time. I don't think anyone really has any connections to the City Watch to know the specifics of that investigation, but you definitely know that it has something to do with that. And it's been popping up more and more. Like there's been a preponderance. Some people theorize it might be like, someone's cleaning house. There's movements going around, like different criminal groups are infighting, whatever it might be, but the certainty is unclear.
Okay, thank you.
Arkadiy, you have been here. So you're also in the area. You have those tracks. You see Sola Vita, Fortuna looking at the body. What are you doing, Arkadiy?
Well, before I go off and check out the tracks, he would like to approach the dagger, and with his eyes closed, holding his hands out around it, he attempts to open himself up to the dagger's past. So I'm using prophecy to see if he can tap into any information about who was wielding the dagger, where it came from, anything of that nature.
You would see a vision of the man's death. It's vague, it's cloudy, as these always are, right? You recognize the locale because you're standing in it. You can see like kind of moving around like Solavita and Fortuna, these kind of shadowy figures. They're shadows in the sense that like they're not fully formed, but also their mode of dress suggests that they're wearing very dark clothes. They don't look to have the colorfulness of the noble, of the noble flair. You see, there's about 5 people, and one of them is like 2 of them have like the body, and they're like they're holding it, one on each arm, and like the man who's dead doesn't seem to be struggling. And you see one of these figures takes the knife and just repeatedly stabs like this rapid fire. There appears to be no attempt by the corpse to actually resist or struggle. You don't see them kind of pushing or pulling on the people who are holding him. You don't see him screaming or anything like that. It's just this moment of death. And then they lift the body up and they kind of slam it against the top parts of the statue. And that's when like the cracking starts. And then they kind of perch it on one of the split, the split stone, so that it almost like pins it, not quite impaled, but close to it. I would say that's what you probably would get. You get like a brief vision of the murder.
He pops out of it. He goes, "We are correct. There was about 5 people who pinned this man here, and he did not resist as he was being held in place, and one other person stabbed repeatedly. Then they hung him essentially on the statue, breaking it. I think these tracks may have been from them, these dark-clothed people. So perhaps while Vincent is off chasing ghosts, we track the tracks, or at least I track the tracks. Maybe with Chauncey. Chauncey, do you want to come with me to track the tracks?"
So Chauncey, we saw you.
Oh yeah.
With a handful of folks by the entrance. You hear Arcadiy calling you. Were you doing anything before Arcadiy called you?
Like right before he goes in, there's still a few people there, and there's the caretaker, and he'll take just a moment to play PR spin doctor because he played victim, but now it's time to like turn the other cheek and play the high road. "My good friends, those of you who remain, whether you are the steadfast, the devout, please remember that in times of tragedy like this, there are tragedies and unfortunate things that we can't control, but what we do need to do is make the best of ourselves in this situation. I implore you, turn to this good woman, give her your support, give her your prayers, join hands in grieving this great loss today."
So they all look up. They have tears kind of welling. They're all older, like all the people that are lingering. And the woman who you address, she kind of shuffles over to you. She's got her like kind of black and whitish robes. You can see that she kind of reaches out and grabs your hand, and she says, "Those are very lovely words, and I'm so very sorry for your loss." And she reaches down and she picks up a shard, and she kind of puts it into your hand and kind of does the whole thing where she kind of closes your hand. "This was my records, a main Wallen, very bright young boy who was taken by the commoners during the Petrotide. I'm very sorry. His soul is now wrenched free from Denari's heaven. Your ancestor will be forever in the hellish pits and no longer under the protection of Denari. Give your family my condolences."
"I will. Thank you, my good woman."
And so the other ones come to her, and they all kind of start going through some kind of prayer. You can hear them going through like the scriptures of or not scriptures necessarily, but some basic prayers or hymns or whatever, all in Denari's name. And then what do? You son of a bitch.
And then I kind of like wait for the moment, like when the crowd kind of comes to her, and then like pocket it and move on, like the little sociopath that he is.
Okay. And then it's when you hear Arkadiy call you, and you're able to catch up. Okay. Okay, so are the two of you going to track kind of follow the tracks? Are Fortuna and Solavita going? What would you like to do?
Oh my, this looks terrible. What's going on in here?
Dear Chauncey, I have been slightly beaten upon by Felipe, but we have problems. We must follow the tracks for this, who are trying to start a war between families. The tracks, anyone else want to follow? It's good.
He was breaking up, but he was asking whether you all wanted to follow him, and he was kind of giving Chauncey the lowdown. Yeah.
Well, you've got red on you, and like Chauncey would just come one step away from poking you in the wound.
Okay.
He did me quite hard.
Fortuna wants to look at this knife because she did.
Sure.
Solavita did point it out to her, so she does want to look at it,
Okay.
and because she imagines that somewhere in the records, she's not going to interfere with the City Watch's investigation, and this was pointed out in public. But she wants to take a very good look at it before we leave this area.
Okay.
I will stay with Fortuna, but you should know, Arkadiy. You see that tattoo over there? It's a prison tattoo. He's likely jail tattoo of some kind, maybe part of a gang. And you should know he's a little bit of an addict for a certain drug as well. Old school doctors like to use it, kind of numb the pain, but very addictive.
He's good. I've got contacts within the underworld, several of the criminal gangs. Perhaps I can find out more information after we try to track these people, because that is one of his.
Yeah, I think you're the only one who's got a
thieves,
thieves guild. Yeah. Okay. So we'll say Chauncey, Arkadiy, you start following it. Like the Arkadiy, the one thing you notice is like the tracks almost seem like they come from deeper inside, or like it's hard to really tell. You think that like they emerge from deeper into this structure. While the two of you are following him, and it's not difficult to follow, you've already identified which way to go. Fortuna, let's take a look at this dagger. You've got, I'm trying to remember exactly what you have for your investigative
Nobility,
abilities. Yeah, sure.
That works.
I would say that you, especially, since we've established you as like the good daughter, or the good Maywallen, who is in line,
yes, I am,
potentially to be the matriarch of the future. You would recognize this. This is not a forgery. This is very much one of your daggers. There is a very clear sign of your insignia. The one thing you might know, maybe it's because you have started to take on more tasks, accounting and such, that the family has been systematically and conservatively and quietly selling off various treasures in the vaults, the family vaults, to pay bills, maintain a lifestyle, because your various investments have not been paid off well.
These clothes do not pay for themselves.
And you would guess, without checking for certain with the records that you have back at Maywallen Estate or Manor or whatever we're calling it, you would guess that it was likely part of a sell-off, because it doesn't. Yeah, that would probably be a guess you might have.
Okay. So she makes a note that she's going to need to go back and look through those records and see if who did this get sold to? Where did this go? How long has it not been sort of within us? But she definitely just sort of, and kind of tisks a bit, turns to Solavita. This is for sure ours, but I think in the need for some spending money, that no, we should leave it. We should leave it for the watch. But I do believe that we should have record that this was something that we sold. in the last few years. So I do not believe it was still in our presence, and the City Watch might need those records.
Very well. If we're not, do you want me? Okay, we'll leave it there, and we'll look for the evidence. I can certainly help you with the reading part. I know you'll know I'm faster reader than you are.
I know your eyes are much younger than mine. You don't have to rub it in.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so we move then over to the guys. You hear every now and then you hear the vague sounds of like Vincent yelling. It's like, you know, like, wait, stop, come back. I'm not trying to hurt you. Just wait. And it's like coming from this hall or that hall. You hear the sounds of clinking chains and his footsteps, and maybe you feel the wind of him like rushing past you at some point. You know he's around here somewhere, but you can't quite seem to find him. However,
I sure hope he's not murdering somebody again at one of these events. That's when it goes so poorly for us.
I am sure Vincent is being good boy.
Of course he is. We're all the very best.
Arkadiy, you, with your vigilance, if you're still using it, you and Chauncey go on a relatively circuitous route throughout this kind of haphazard, but overall very clean and well kept. Almost, it's like a museum as much as it is anything else, right? There's no bodies in here. It's just a funerary statues. You find at one point with your vigilance a very hastily rearranged series of floor tiles that seem to be in a different alcove, a different room. You don't recognize the era that this is necessarily representing, but you can see the tiles themselves are slightly misshapen. If you think of like the idea of like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when they're like going down the floor tile in the library, you kind of see a little chip on one of them that looks like somebody like chipped away at it so they could like reach under and lift this large stone. And that's what it looks like for you. Like someone climbed down or climbed up, probably climbed up considering how easily it was placed and where the chip is. But that is what you notice.
Do you see this, Chauncey? The stone. Listen, here, stand back, and he will try to pry the stone up himself.
Sure. I would say that you can make a athletics test.
Absolutely.
Difficulty 4.
I will spend 1 point of athletics to get this. I got a 3 on the die, so 4.
That's all you need. Okay, so yeah, you're able to get through here without any harm done, basically. Had you failed, you probably still would have gotten through, but there might have been some harm. In this case, you're able to lift up the very heavy stone.
Not your back.
He's good advice, Chauncey. Yes, with knees.
And
you stand back. Don't want you to get hurt, my old friend.
Thank you so much. This outfit is just one of a kind.
What does it look like?
Oh, it was like the full-on, almost Mardi Gras nonsense where it's purple and gold and green and.
All right.
And you see Arcadiy,
and it's the great grandfather
and a great coat. He's like,
yeah. The only little bit of color is like the forced color of your emblem, like your family emblem. Yeah.
Crust. It's on the inside of the lapel. He has to open it.
Easily covered. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what then starts to happen, Arkadiy and Chauncey, is this happens two more times, where you find yourselves dropping, following some tracks, finding another kind of broken floor tile, dropping down again, finding another one. And you find yourselves, the two of you have like weaved your way both deeper into the actual necropolis itself, but then you have vertically descended several layers. And you know that the lower you go, the older these wings are. So like you're passing by sections of the crypt that have been built upon, and some of this is probably accessible. The belief is that the caretakers have like special access points and things, and that they only take people down here when there's permission to do so, or whether it's properly arranged. but it looks like somebody tried to gain access without that, right? But eventually you two find yourselves in a very old, ancient, like hundreds of years old, main wall and crypt. And there's something about the crypt. I'm gonna let you guys figure it out. What is it about all of the funerary statues that signal that they're your family? Is there some like specific flourish or specific design or style? Is there something that kind of that depicts them very clearly?
Maybe like at the bottom of the statues, since like a tree is part of our emblem, like they kind of have almost like roots that go down into the bottom of the statues, or at least there's the carving of something like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
So like they're kind of like tethered to the earth, so to speak.
So like whether it's like a bust or like a full length, at the very bottom, like the legs or the chest kind of eventually like morph into roots, which kind of like wrap around like whatever, like pedestal or, okay. So you see that you're in a room that has about a dozen, maybe 15 various funerary statues. It's a wing. But I'll say with your vigilance, Arkadiy, you notice very, very clearly there is one statue that is missing. You can see that classic like dust and grime everywhere, but then the empty, clean spot from where it was removed. Do either of you have forgotten lore?
I do not.
No.
Okay.
We are not the bright ones of the bunch.
Oh dear.
I would like to disagree with that. It's just a matter of what style of intelligence one imparts.
You probably don't know specifically who or where, what age, what era this is, but it looks like someone... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Would we be able to take down or jot down the names of the other statues? Because then we could give them to Fortuna and say, we found a crypt.
Absolutely.
All of these people were here. Who's missing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my. Good show, Arkadiy. Very smart.
Well, you know, Fortuna, she is the bright one. We just give her information. She figured everything out. Going to be excellent, matron.
But who thinks to bring the information to her? You do. So don't cut yourself short, chap.
You're too kind.
So
I am.
Looking around, from what you can glean, Arkadiy, it does seem like the track's kind of like dead in here. You don't see anyone like leaving from this wing of this sublevel. They've like this is what they were coming for, and one of your family statues is missing.
We must get this back to Fortuna, for she will be able to figure this out. May have to go back to family archives for it. Does not appear that there's another way out of here, so clearly they came just for statue.
Are there signs of like dragging or scraping, or did they bring some ogre down here to just carry it?
You don't see anything to suggest that there has been damage done to the floor. Like it's old, it's grime, but it is well cared for. It is, as nice as a several hundred years old crypt could be. It is clean and is tidy, and you don't notice any signs that it's been dragged. You do remember, Arkadiy, seeing 5 different people inside of your vision that you had.
The crew was at least 5 people. They could probably manage statue, particularly if it was smaller statue or just bust.
Oh my, can you imagine trying to carry one of these ladders? Dear goodness, I nearly sprained my ankle on one.
Dear Chauncey, I cannot imagine you carrying anything, but others perhaps, yes.
But well, you need good supervision in a situation like that.
Indeed, you supervise, others do, I get.
Okay. So we'll say the two of you begin your return visit, or your return journey, I should say, back up. A little bit harder this time. So one of the things you can do in this game, sometimes you can just you can just sort of charge points as like a journey. And so you guys are now climbing up. So I would say spend 1 athletics point if you have it. And that is sort of like the exhaustion of literally just trying to climb back up and through and all the way up. Oh. No roll necessary. Just the point.
Are you going to make it, Chauncey?
Oh please! I didn't win I forget what the name of that sport is with the
eel ball, something like that.
I didn't.
Eel ball,
You think I won the eel ball cup without having my conditioning Intern, I will have you know, I just dodged at least 17 sword blows less than 10 minutes ago. So, the fact that I'm slightly winded...
Arkadiy's belly laughing. He's like, I know, Chauncey. I like to bust chops.
Okay.
You are. That's why I asked you to come with me.
Of course. Oh, I didn't mean to roll that.
Okay. Fortuna and Solovita, we're back by you. Was there anything more you wanted to do? I can even say that the woman at some point who was like kind of leading that group, she's still lingering, so she's a caretaker as well. There's also other people that have now started to return from the mob chase after Mateo. And you would guess that if they're returning, likely some of those people in the mob had to have informed the City Watch if the nobles who already threatened to do so. So your time is limited at this point. But are there more things that Fortuna or Solovita would want to do?
I think we're definitely wanting to figure out the identity of this individual, I believe. And so Fortuna would ask, Vita, did you look for any possible identifying marks on the body? Did you see any moles or any identifying marks that if we talk to other members of
towards the tattoo?
Really just the tattoo.
Hopefully.
You just said that might be new, and so
Hopefully Vincent,
okay.
Hopefully Vincent, when he interrogates the ghost, will be able to get his identity.
We just got to find him. Just got to see where he is. He's lost somewhere in these tunnels.
The
Yes,
tattoo
he
does
just
look
went
like
running
what was the jail that Vincent went to, Fortuna? Where did you fish them out of?
Yes, and I wrote it down. A summer place.
Yeah, that'll work. I think it was Old Summer Palace.
Old Summer Palace.
I think it's Palace.
Yep, that is what those scratches on my paper should say.
Do you think you have any friends in there because who might be able to identify him?
I have no friends in Old Summer Palace, Vita.
Oh, okay. Yes, fair enough. I'm sorry. Well, I just meant like, you might have somebody who knows somebody because you're, you're a little bit cleaner than me.
Yes, of course. I always know someone who knows someone. It is 6th degree of Fortuna the main wall, and you know this.
Yes, as long as we have deniability. So maybe there's someone that would be able to tell you which Bonaventure went into prison recently.
Maybe. And she'll look around, and I think we've seen everything here probably that we need to. I think we looked at the knife, we've looked at the body. We know Vincent is trying to go talk to that individual. So I think probably we'd want to be moving along from here, I would imagine.
Let's not get caught here. It's not good for your image.
Okay. So if that's the case, then the two of you like leave. You will say like you leave where the body is, and like you pass by the caretaker who says, "I'm very sorry for your loss. I will ensure the watch investigator will keep the scene. I am sure that you would want to know what has happened here. I'm so very sorry again." And she's like giving the two of you like condolences as if someone from your family has just died. She's just, "I'm so very sorry indeed."
We are as well. This is just so unfortunate that this is how the events of the day went down. And yes, and she will, for the poor souls that were in these statues, she will definitely kind of join the caretaker. This is not something to be rushed, and the appearance of giving any sort of disrespect to all of these would be untenable. So she will, of course, bow with her. And yes, we must just so very tragic today, and so many different ways. Thank you for all of your service, and please let the City Watch know that we did leave the dagger there. I have confirmed its authenticity and will be attempting to locate records of a recent sale if they have any questions.
And she's like nodding along. you get the sense that halfway through she stopped paying attention,
listening,
as it was not relevant to her task.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, she was very respectful and nods at you. And I would say this delay allows Chauncey and Arkadiy to come back up and kind of catch up with so the four of you, will say, are right outside the entrance to the Wing of Martyrs. Was still waiting for Vincent, and you've got this new information. So the four of you are together. You the small little sideways, out of earshot, perhaps, of the people who have come back to mourn and pay respects and such.
Dear Fortuna, the 5 individuals responsible for the heinous murder of this fake Bonaventure lad went deep into one of the ancient Main-Wallen crypts and stole one of our funerary statues. I could not say.
There are statues.
Yeah,
it gets worse and worse.
It does, indeed. I think, obviously, they have something against our family. I don't know who they stole, but here are the names of the statues that were still in the crypt. Perhaps with this information, you can figure out who it was that they took.
This is absolutely unacceptable. Yes, let me see that. Let me see that list, please.
It does very much seem like they're trying to incite us into making a mistake and then hold the soul of our ancestor hostage to make us do some nefarious thing in the future.
And Fortuna takes a look at the list and sort of makes a face, like she sort of shoves it over to Solovita, like she can't read the chicken scratch.
Oh, yes.
My penmanship is excellent. What do you mean, chicken scratch?
Yes, very, very good, Arkadiy. And what are the names that I'm reading?
So since Solovita is specifically looking at it, I would say Fortuna and Solovita, you'd both be able to recognize quickly.
I am reading them out loud.
Yeah. The names that are being read, you both would know that this is from what's considered, relatively informally, the Age of Assassination. It was basically a dark time in the history of the family, long before the Putrid Tide, in which the family was beset by this this run of sorcerous assassins, like assassins based on sort of corrupted sorcery of some kind. And then Solovita, you would know. Because both of you have forgotten lore, but then Solovita, you have a kind of a personal connection here, as the missing statue is Castellar Main-Wallen, who is brother to Eliana Main-Wallen II, a former matriarch. And you all are currently under Eliana Main-Wallen IV, but the second. And you would know him, Solovita, as being the father and kind of protector, at least the history suggests, of Eliana, the father to Rithilda, who, if you would like to explain who that is.
So the missing statue, Castellar, I've read about him in, and Solovita will look back and forth a bunch, and then sort of pull up and dip into a very hidden sort of side pocket where you see there's a book strapped to kind of her side, and she pulls it out. It looks a little strange. It looks like it's bound in leather, but not like cowhide or any animal that exists here. Okay, so Fortuna, don't get angry. This is the sort of diary, sort of grimoire. She kind of made it a bit of a mess in here, but I've read it page to page a few times, of our great-great-great-grandmother, Rithilda's, who was the daughter of Calasar, and she may have then donated her flesh to bind the book so that it would be protected forever. I'm bringing it around now, but this is grandmother.
Oh my, that's, you just have that book hidden with you?
It's a very, okay, I'll put it away again. Rithilda was, she existed in the age of assassination, Arcadiy. I don't know, Chauncey. These are little history lessons for new nobles.
That's grandma. Isn't she's the book? What?
So she was a very powerful statuary sorcerer, which is where I have learned it from. She was able to speak the ancient scripts of Serpentine. So it's written in that. But she talks about her father a few times, and he was like a good protector to her, according to her own account of it. She was quite happy with him, and she became a very, so she could do a lot of things with statues. Like me.
And
I don't
This era was like, because of the family, and again, this is what history suggests. Solavita, you probably are the most up to speed, but I don't see why Fortuna wouldn't have knowledge of this. There was like a push for many family members to learn the ways and to defend themselves, right? So that's kind of where some of this was coming from.
So if we think about what would be the benefit of taking this statue, I think it may have been mentioned to take it as a bit of ransom, to perhaps make request of us that we would honor him, as we of course would, and then do whatever they ask. Unless they have more nefarious reasons to want to speak to him, that he might have this knowledge.
If it gets to the way you make you turn people into books, who knows what you've taken of a statue? I don't know.
Well, this is when she passed away of old age, is much later, but that was her father. It was when our family was like beset by a bunch of assassination sorcerer types, dark history before the putrid tide, where we definitely rose with the nobles and helped them out.
Well, if nothing else, the calling this out, if nothing else, sends a message. If someone is wanting to go back to such an age of assassination, she's referencing back to the dead body that was there. I do not wish to revisit this part of history.
I neither have I, but I have a follow-up question, Chauncey, Arcadiy. When you saw the statue or the missing statue, did you not see drag marks or maybe wood chips from something used to a police system?
No. So, Lolita, dear, there were 5 men down there. It's statue heavy, but not so heavy they could not move it.
Well, you're climbing up the ladder?
Absolutely. You have some ropes. One person go up first. He hauls it up. Have you never done manual labor, Lolita?
Why would I just that when I can just tell a statue to do something for me?
He's good point.
It's very important.
But that is my point as well, is could they also, if they've got magic, maybe they also have a little bit like me?
Maybe, perhaps.
What if this isn't so much
easy to move?
like a hostage thing? What if it's a warning? Like, if we're entering a new age of sorceress assassination, they've just taken away our protector, symbolically.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Or perhaps they wish to torture the soul of Kazilar. Pull him back into the
our family.
This is exactly my... any of those options are very bad options. We do not want to go back to an age of such things again.
Well, I spent a great deal of time in Luzrek doing assassinations for family. So, everyone's different, got a potato, so to speak.
I don't want any potatoes.
Don't worry, Chauncey. No potatoes for you.
Okay, so, Lolita, with your sorcery and with your forgotten lore, you would know that it very easily could just be a ransom situation, which is not an unheard of thing. That's not uncommon for people. That's one of the reasons why these caretakers are here. This is such a localized case, and everyone's kind of on the same page with it. But you would know the real danger is that if anybody were to know his true name, then they have the ability to perhaps kind of summon him. and use that as a way to like do their bidding. So that is a potential other reason why they might have stolen it.
Also, if they have the statue, they have the possibility of learning his true name, and we all know that that is not good because, you can kind of control a person that way, so...
Yes, of course.
Hey, Chauncey, I'll go over it later. I'll bring a book with me so I can read while I explain, so I can multitask, because it's very second nature to me.
Oh, good, because the only thing I love more than reading is being horrified by the things I'm reading. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to bring this education to you. Welcome back to the cafe.
Fortuna.
Yes.
Dear Fortuna, should we tell Caretaker about missing Man Wallen's statue? It seems they should be made aware of this.
Oh, yes, that's good. Very, very good. And so Fortuna will look to see if if we can see down the hill a City Watch, if we still have a little bit of time here before kind of City Watch arrives.
Yeah, I'll say you have time.
Okay.
People are coming back though, so it's no longer like this. People can kind of hear you at this point. Yeah.
So Fortuna would go back to the Caretaker.
Okay. All right. So you approach her. She is like, you see her in the wing with a body. You see the shards. She's like kind of like tisking at it and very, very sad. And you kind of overhear her like as you come. I'm so very sorry, Inquisitor. You did not deserve this. And then she sees you. Oh, yes, Miss Main Wallen. Is there something I can help you with?
Yes, it appears that this was these, referring to the body and the funerary statues, these were not the only incidents to befall this. I must inform you that we have discovered that we also have a statue that has been taken from far below.
What? Oh, are you certain?
Yes, and there were...
Lower levels have been closed for the celebration.
The tiles were broken. And yes. Did you have any reports of anyone? I know there was a lot of activity in preparation for today, but were there any reports of suspicious groups here, or loud noises, or...
Suspicious? No, there was... I was not here until just before, and everything was fine. I walked through an hour before, perhaps. There was a canal watcher that was by the Veiled Bridge at the base of the necropolis. He perhaps could have seen something. The wing has been closed for 3 days in preparation. We have not had it open since Juliana Bonaventure and her children. We brought them through. We gave them a tour. It was 3 days ago.
If I can ask how many came with...
so many. Her like face says, the children, they take interest in history. Ask questions here and there. And some threaten to push over and knock the statues. No, that's not very good. That is behavior that must be beaten out. These
unacceptable.
Yes.
Unacceptable. So these were the little Bonaventures that were here.
Oh yes. And she's like moving her hand, like you guess they're children. Yes, Miss Juliana brought them, and they moved about, and some of the servants, of course, as well. And they told stories, and it was a lovely day. I noticed that the main Wallen family is not done something similar? Is there? She's like angling now. Is there interest, perhaps? In no. Now it's not the time. No, I'm sorry. That was
I'm sorry. We are trying to see it, for someone to have carried our ancestor like this. They must have been strong individuals, not Juliana and the children. They must have been.
They were here days ago.
This is not what we expect, or the respect that needs to be paid. This will not stand.
No. We will investigate. We will find out who has done this and who has taken the statue. I will speak to Watchmaster Artura myself. I'm sure she is on her way here. The events of today, terrible. She will want to investigate herself.
There are many things to investigate. This appears there is a lot going on. And you can tell Fortuna's almost leaning into a like, this is an unacceptable way to treat our family, but she kind of got put off a little bit by that, like, we haven't been here to pay homage to our ancestors thing. And so now she's a little off her foot a little bit. Okay. Thank you for that. Many have been wronged this day. I return to your prayers.
Oh, thank you. I'm very sorry. And she goes back to like kind of reverently kind of praying over the broken statue. And okay. I'll say, because unfortunately Long's not going to join us, as you're coming back out, you hear the sounds of chains and huffing and puffing. And there is Vincent finally rushing out, kind of conspiratorially closes in on him, and he's breathing heavily. He's sweating. His eyes have gotten their color back in some ways. And he says, I've spoken with the ghost. Yeah. And he kind of waves you over. And here's how we're going to play this. We're going to do like sort of like a flashback, and we're going to see on the screen. We're going to see Vincent having cornered the ghost in somehow in an alcove or a vestibule, somewhere within that. Finally, the ghost relents and talks to him. Maybe Vincent says the right word. I'm going to charge him all the points to get this. And he begins asking questions. But when we're watching it, like it's a TV show, right? We see him talking, but we hear your voices coming out. And because like so I'm going to let you guys essentially ask the questions that he otherwise would have, so that you're not leaving the scene without talking to the ghost. So you when you look at, when we're looking at it, like it looks just like the man. His hair, his wig is askance, and you can tell he's relatively military type cut, or like very close cropped hair underneath. And you can see he's got the clothes of the main ones loosely hanging, and like 1,000 dagger wounds, all of which they're just like a fountain. You can see almost comically streams of this blood. It's in his spirit form, it's more like this blackish blue color, but it's like spilling out. And like Vincent every now and then has to kind of step away as it kind of pools and then sucks back up and then begins to drain again. But like Vincent's holding up his hands, like the chains are circling around. And then he opens his mouth and he asks a question. And whose voice are we going to say speaks up? Who asks a question?
I would like to know.
Go for it.
Oh, what is your name? Your full name?
I was good. That's the same thing.
We hear the voice go, I'm Carlo Bonaventure, which you very well know, mean Warren scum. And he's constantly like grimacing and grabbing like the wounds in his pain, that like clearly in pain.
We know he was poisoned before all this happened, right?
You know that he imbibed a substance that is on his lips and his gums.
A form of early doctor anesthesia.
Hmm.
Very
Exactly.
active.
My good friend, who did you share a drink with last?
And you hear, "Certainly not you, you scum!"
So rude.
So, you guys can make some checks. We can do some sways. We could do some spins. So, like, we're in this kind of situation here. So, you are dealing with a clearly he is defensive witness. So, you can make some spins. You can make some tests. And then you kind of walk me through what it is you're looking to learn. So sway would be the operative general ability to use in this particular case. But there's also investigative abilities if you wanted to try to make spends to maybe just get some things for free. Or you could just tell me like, let me double check what old Vincent has here. Yeah, Vincent doesn't have much in the way of social. He's got doesn't have a lot, but
I've got no sway whatsoever. So
Got some sway left. I didn't quite spend all of it.
does anyone here have liar's tell?
Yes, I do.
So Fortuna, like we see like this shift back as like Vincent is describing in great detail how he was acting, what he was saying, the questions he was asking, his body language. The way that Vincent is kind of conveying the scene, it sounds like this guy is lying. It sounds like he is he's like saying very rehearsed things. He keeps saying "meanwhile scum," and he's saying it like, and every time Vincent says it, he does it in like this kind of dramatic way. So you would be able to kind of discern that there's definitely lying going on here. Like this guy is definitely not telling the truth. Anything more would be a spend.
Okay. I've got one liar's tell, so I'll spend the liar's tell on that. I'm imagining it's something along the lines of like, I know, because whatever. What was the first name of the Bonaventure again? It started with a C.
Carlo.
Carlo. Okay.
Yeah.
I know very well that Carlo Bonaventure has not seen the inside of Old Summer's palace. And so that's what she's trying to call him on, that inconsistency in the story.
And so like, yeah, you say that back and Vincent is like, I know that. I know. I'm just telling you everything that happened. And then we see like the flash and like the conversation continues and like they're going back and forth. And you can tell like there's this this sort of change in the posture of the ghost, who before was like doing these kind of flamboyant movements, but then doubling over in pain. And then finally just kind of gives up on the flamboyant movements. My name's Carlo. I'm ready. You can't tell anyone, no. I can't go. It's not part of the deal. The deal was I died peacefully and the debt is wiped clean for my family, so if you go spouting off, I'm pretty sure even in death they would probably say I reneged on the deal. So, isn't it? Isn't they suffer enough? Come on, don't say nothing.
Poor soul. You just trying to take care of your family. It breaks my heart. Why don't you tell us who your family was? Because those people, they did this horrible thing to you, but I won't stand for it, sir. I won't. Please, I'm your friend here. I want to see your family done well, and not because of this heinous deed done to you, but because it's the right thing to do. I'd like to charm him and let him know that I really care.
We see Vincent is like trying to do these movements and talking, but it's Chauncey's voice coming out of his mouth. It sounds so ridiculous. But yeah, go ahead. You want to spend? You want to do a charm spend? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
1 point's fine.
Okay.
He said, "Hey, well, my wife's name is Michaela, and I got 3 little boys. What were their names again? I haven't seen them in quite some time. She won't let me see them, not since I got sent up. She says that if I see them, then they're just gonna follow the same path I did. And I guess she's probably right about that. Least I can do is, if I couldn't be a husband and father in life, I guess I could do a lot more for them in death. You understand? Oh, it hurts. They didn't say it was gonna hurt so much. I thought once you die, the pain goes away. It doesn't go away. It does.
Oh, poor Carlo. One other question for you.
Maybe
Who
more
is
than
it
one.
that who is it that holds your debt?
And you could see, like, as Vincent says that, Arkadiy's voice comes out, and like the posture of the ghost, like suddenly he's like, no, I can't say nothing. And then, but you see, like, there's negotiation. You've done the spend for charm. I'm not gonna cause any more. All right, you can't say nothing. It was her. And like, who's her? It's the Canal Queen. Oh, God. I said it. She probably heard me. One of the...
And
someone...
this Canal Queen, she's also given you that lovely little canal tattoo on your side. Yes?
Well... And you hear Solafita's voice this time now. Well, he reaches down. Not her specifically, but like one of her brutes did. It's not. He said it was gonna look better at least, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, you
it
ended
looks
up
terrible.
with a little bit of an infection. That's why it's a little poofy.
And he said it wasn't gonna get infected.
It did, I can tell. But do you know where this Canal Queen base happens to be? Where is that canal?
He just starts laughing. What? What are you on about? No. What's wrong with you? You don't. You just
so
born
much. Tell
yesterday.
me about how wrong I am.
So, does anyone here have? Let's see. I know no one's got City Watch. Servility. I don't think anyone's got servility either, huh?
No.
Yeah.
None of
Thieves
us
Guild?
went that direction.
Arkadiy, if you wanna spend a point in Thieves Guild, we could say that you know some things about this term. This name.
Absolutely.
Okay. So using your knowledge, how does Arkadiy, how does he connect to the Thieves Guild? Because I know you're not a thief yourself, but you have dealings with thieves. So, like, what would you say Arkadiy's like connection to them is?
So Arcadiy connects most closely through the Watchers, the spotters for the different thieves guilds, because he uses them as informants from time to time, and he has been known for higher powered thieves or thief masters to occasionally do job for them, little knife work here and there to keep the relationship copacetic, so to speak.
So you maybe there's a particular spotter or a watcher that you have grown friendly with. We want to give him a name.
Sure.
Or her a name.
Let's call her Helena.
Okay.
Unknown last name. She's never given it to me.
So, like, we see this little like scene interjection, and it's like Arkadiy and Helena, like they're by like a canal, after a job or watching maybe. And like you're looking down and you see like a body just floating through the canal. And she says, maybe this is early on in your time in Eversing. And she says something to the effect of, I guess the Canal Queen got her due again today. And like she mentions this name, Arkadiy would know, and like, what does this mean? And she's just like, you don't know the Canal Queen? It's a legend, I guess you could say. It's kind of a sort of a cautionary tale that thieves and criminals and the like, they use to scare their children. Eat your vegetables and don't squeal on your old man, but the Canal Queen's gonna get you. And she goes on to say, like, it's a name or a title that has been around for generations, and it's used in some cases like an urban legend or like a folk tale, but it's also there's like some clarity in that, like somebody has recently adopted that title and has been like using some network of smugglers. It's not so someone is like she doesn't think it's like the real Canal Queen, like based on legend. It's just somebody using that term of this piece of folklore to try to like create some sense of fear. And so that's what Arcadiy would know. It's like Kaiser Soze. If that was unclear.
He's the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So Arcadiy would, of course, provide all of this information.
Sure.
Once we hear the name, the Canal Queen.
Okay. So we come back. He's
Chauncey.
laughing. Yeah.
Chauncey learning so much that he got to be
No!
nerd
I like playing eel ball and having a bar. And what is this nonsense? Why? You nobles are terrible.
So in this scene, we see like Vincent like asking the question, "Who's the connector? Do you know the who it is?" And he's laughing, "No." And then we hear like Arkadiy's voice like just interrupt and just let everybody know who the Canal Queen is. Like you all kind of now know at least a little bit of like the reputation of who this figure is and how it's been adopted at some point from some kind of smuggling empire. Okay. So, what next?
Fortuna, are we staying to brief the watch on what we have discovered, or are we going to leave it up to them to draw conclusions against our family?
I was not planning to stay here. I want to get back to our archives and see if I can trace who did we sell this dagger to and how did it come from our vaults to be here. So I believe that we can possibly find the answers to give to them. I do not know that I was planning to stay and waste the rest of my day catching them up when we are 20 steps ahead of them already.
But if they do not do proper investigation and overlook some of things we found, we may not ever be able to bring them up to speed, so to speak. They may simply decide that we are responsible and do damage to our family that our family cannot currently manage.
Well, then we better figure out how to point the finger at the right person. Who is this Canal Queen that we can put the blame on the right person? And also the fact that this do we want to protect this Michaela family or whatever?
It would seem in our best interest to
Okay.
inquire as to what, if anything, they have been told about the whereabouts of their estranged husband.
Also,
And
we have
father.
to maybe let the Bonaventures know that it's not actually one of them that murdered, so they don't rampage. But I would vote for keeping the guards a step behind us, trying to catch up with us, and not keeping them abreast with us.
Well, I just said this. This very interesting is perhaps here in this city it works differently. If Watch decides that we are guilty and choose not to look into it any deeper, we will find ourselves fighting the guard as we try to prove our innocence. Just a thought.
We are the main Wallens. The
He signed
City
the
Watch
treaty, our family.
will not rush until they have done their due diligence. They
You
know
think?
better.
And I have it on good authority that what was seen is that it was really the Bonaventures that just lost their temper, went on
Very
a
much so.
rampage, and we were the devout ones rallying people to try and take care of this place. So,
Arcadiy's just shaking his head at this point. He's like, as you wish. And he starts walking away, thinking to himself, this might not be the right way, but he's okay with it.
We should figure out before you go, Arkadiy. We've got a bunch of threads to follow. Let's. Do we split up? Do we all go together? We need to find out a bunch of information at this point. So let's figure out where we're going before we split.
as a thought, I know some friends in another part of town, so to speak, that could maybe try to reach out to that family, see how the new widow and her children are doing. Maybe they could use a lifeline outside of their current help.
You are probably the best person to speak with the Makele, whatever family, because they are common. That is a common name. And you have a very good way with words. I'm not so good with them.
But you're great with flesh-bound books made from our grandmothers, so that's great.
Look, you have a lot to learn about the secrets of nobility. I'll show you the library sometime.
I can't wait to be terrified even further. Thank you so much.
No problem. Arkadiy, you do tend to have good grip on the jail system, the watchers, the thieves.
Arkadiy just throws his hands up.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to Helena. I will get back to the family when I can.
Okay. Excellent. Find out if you can what you can about the Canal Queen. Fortuna, obviously we need to read through some documents, but I'm thinking you and we have a few connections with the Canal Watchers, and they might have ideas of where someone called the Canal Queen might enjoy hanging out in the canals. You know?
Well, and the caretaker did let us know that there was a caretaker right at the bridge who might have seen something here not too long before things happened.
Okay, well, I'm thinking maybe you and since we have similar information, we can go and see if we can find this person and then go and work together to get the documentation for the sale of the knife, if we have that. And Jeff can just deal with everybody going everywhere else.
No. That's the way this game works, so I'm totally fine with it. Okay, so we'll say then that we're leaving the necropolis. So a quick point of order. I was going to give you guys 2 more general refresh tokens with the various things that you've uncovered. So there should be a total of free stretch tokens. Those go away. So once we leave the necropolis. So if you want to use them, you got to use them now. And there's 3 left, effectively. So does anyone want to take one to take a couple, whatever, to refresh some general abilities?
I mean,
yeah, you guys have been using your charm and sway the most.
My warfare's pretty low.
yeah, I'm down 7 in athletics, but
Oof. Yeah, I think, okay,
Probably
you
wanna
guys
get
should
some of that.
definitely take them. I am I'm down 2 in stealth, but I'm not gonna compete with 7. I know, right? It hurts. It hurts. I'm a little less stealthy.
Down 5 in warfare at the moment.
Just take it. I still have points in all my stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
one is going to Chauncey for athletics. One is going to Arcadiy for warfare.
Yes.
And then there's also audience, which you can use at any time. Audience is a little different. You can use it at any time, but you can use 1 per scene to get like a general ability refresh. You can basically use it like a refresh token once per scene, or you can use 5 once per adventure to get an investigative point back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Cool.
Would
Okay.
it be okay if I took the 3rd to get a point of sway back to put me back
Absolutely.
up to half sway?
okay.
I think
Okay,
it's pretty
we've
good in the scene
Yeah.
we're about to enter where you talk to people, and I don't.
We have spent our 3 refresh then.
Yay.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. So let's then, as you all begin to leave, you see eventually like some of the watch show off. You can see like this woman. You would probably know of her. None of you have points in City Watch, so unfortunately, you don't have any ins currently with law enforcement ish of this area. But you would at least know this figure, watch commander or lead investigator of like this area. You can see Arturo Lamaso. She like starts climbing up. Maybe you steer clear, you veer away, and you all are able to leave the grounds. So in terms of next steps, it is the middle of the day. It is you spent some time in the morning, do the parade, during the early afternoon, dealing with this. So it's middle afternoon. So it's not quite nighttime. Where is everyone kind of splitting off to? Where do we think we're going? Or what leads are we following? Because you got a lot of different things you can follow up on, like Kipser was saying. So like, what does everyone want to follow up on? We want to just kind of go do a quick roundtable. Let's do it that way. Chauncey, where do you think you would go?
I feel like going to talk to the widow and the kids directly is a bad route, even though I've got connections with commoners. But could I potentially tap my background with commoner to say I have a contact that I would reach out to who might be able to do it as a proxy, so to speak?
Absolutely.
So there was a guy that used to be on my team with me.
Okay.
Like when I did the Eel League, or I keep forgetting what the name of the sport is.
Eel Ball. I think it's just Eel Ball. Yeah.
Is it just Eel Ball? Okay.
I think so.
All right. So back in my
EB.
Eel Ball days. EB.
Okay.
So,
go ahead.
like my go-to guy, like Chauncey was a decent athlete, but he was more of like a team captain, like rile up the other team into making a mistake or like inspire the team. But the real anchor of the team was the guy that's come to be known as Piss Pot Randy. Right. Piss Pot Randy is just a slab of beef, right? He is just, there is nothing noble about him at all. If Common is here, Piss Pot Randy is 2 steps down below.
Okay. So let's set a scene, like where you're meeting with him. Okay. Where do we want to say you're meeting with him? Is it your place?
Yeah, it's probably at our place. Like maybe there's a back room at the Legitimate Bastard.
Yeah. So describe the scene for me then, since this is your place. Describe the Legitimate Bastard for us. As it is middle of the afternoon. What does the crowd look like in the middle of the afternoon?
So very much a lot of the stuff with Chauncey, I very much think of New Orleans and whatnot. So Legitimate Bastard, like think of a very like not fully upscale, but fairly nice bar on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It's kind of that sort of vibe. There's like lots of big gaudy decorations. There's plenty of different masks. And it's this sort of place that when you come in, if you don't have your own mask, they'll give you one if you want. Because it's meant to be like, what happens at the Legitimate Bastard stays at the Legitimate Bastard sort of thing. And that's all on the front. It's kind of like all like faux glitz sort of thing.
Okay.
But there's a few back rooms that people can like hang out privately.
All right. So did anyone go before we start? Did anyone go with Chauncey? It's fine to say no. I'm just before we start. I don't want to. Okay. All right. So Chauncey, you're at your bar. You go in. You've had a rough day. You meet with. You hear whatever it might be. You pull Piss Pot Randy into the back. he comes like stumbling in because he's already drunk, or he's still drunk, right? Is that fair? What do you think?
I think he probably has like an outfit that's like one step above commoner because we did win a championship, but he's worn that same outfit for at least 3 years straight. It's the nicest piece of clothing he's ever owned, and he's never taken it off since he won the championship.
Okay.
It is just stained in every angle possible.
Yeah. There's like an old like winner's sash like that they gave everyone. He still basically has on there, but you can no longer read like the stitching. The stitching is full out, whatever it said.
And just like if anybody's a professional wrestling fan, think Luke Harper.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just wild-eyed hair all over the place.
So let me get into. Well, I can probably kind of do more Mankind. I don't know if this is about right, but I'll say he comes in, his hair is all over the place, and he says something. What's good? What's good?
Randy,
hey.
You know I'd pour out the top shelf for you, but I feel like you would probably prefer some of this homebrewed thing a friend of mine made for us.
Isn't everything homebrewed? What?
So deep. 2 fathoms, my friend.
What?
I call you Twain.
So free. You give me free.
Right. So here, this one's for this hand, and this one's for this hand.
There's like 4 of you. Okay. Got it.
Well, you deserve as many friends as you can get because you are the rock of this entire city, the same way you're the anchor for our team.
Like
obviously.
He's a son of a bitch. No, he's a bastard.
He is. What a bastard. I hate him.
I put an elbow in his throat during the championship. You remember that? He thought he was going to get the ball, but he didn't. I got there first.
And you know why? Because you were there.
That's Piss Paw Randy.
There's nobody I can rely on quite like you.
You cry like me.
There's nobody like you. You're one of a kind.
I'm one of a kind. There's 4 of you. Okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not special. There's 4 of me. What's special about me? But there's only one you.
Okay.
4 of me, 1 of you. Clearly, you're the most important man in the room.
4 to 1. That was the
right?
odds that we were gonna win, and we won. We did.
That's right. That's right.
It's good times.
Without you.
It's good times.
It was good times. It was. It was hard work, but we got it done. You know, I feel like I owe something to this community, right? They supported us when nobody else believed in us. Nobody else was willing to believe in you, but you know who did believe us? The people. The people of the streets, they believed in us.
To the people.
To the people. That's right, Randy. To the people. And you know, there's a poor lady with 3 children and no husband.
They're not mine.
On hard times.
They're not mine. I don't care what anyone says. They're not mine.
They're not yours. No, they're not. But they've fallen on hard times, Randy. They've fallen on hard times. And they need somebody to check in on them.
Oh, you want me to be a dad?
I mean, if you wanted to be, of course. But yeah, I would never ask you to.
I guess I could be a dad. I always wanted
you would
to be
an amazing father. You would be.
I would be an amazing. Better than Rock. You know, Rock. He sunk to the bottom. He's dead.
He did. That's what he deserved.
So you want me to go be a father? All right.
Well, I would love for you to go check it. There's a family that I just want to make sure that they're doing okay. They've fallen on hard times. This poor woman, she had a husband. He did nothing wrong. Sent to jail for no good reason. And I think he might have. I know you didn't. Because again, you're a linchpin, sir. You're an anchor. But these people, they need you. They need you to check in on them, make sure they're okay. So, could I ask you a favor, please? Just
say no more. I got this. I can do this. I'm gonna go be a father to those boys. And he gets up and he starts leaving. A little while later, he comes back in. He's big black eye, busted lip. She didn't want me to be a father. She said no thank you. So I tried though. But anyhow. So what information did you want him to get? He'll get the information you want. What information did you want him to get?
If nothing else, like, I can trust him to have screwed up in the right way to where, like, she'll now know my information to get in touch with me. Okay. It's like, his part, Randy, is, like, reliable to fail in a certain way.
Okay.
Like, you know, like, he's a brick of a man. He's a brick.
Okay.
You know.
House.
So, like, now she'll know how to get in touch with me without it being, like, an obvious thing that I went to her sort of deal.
Okay, well, she was very upset. She said her dirtbag husband went to prison. She don't want nothing to do with him anymore. And he can leave as much coin on the sill as he has. She's not taking him back. That's what she said. And I said, well, I don't really remember what I said, to be honest, but I got a black eye from it, so it probably wasn't good.
Well, I'm sure you're perfectly eloquent, Randy. And, you know, it's honestly, it's her loss. Really. You tried to step up. You tried to be the bigger man. Honestly, you are the big man. You are the biggest man. God bless you, Randy. Never had a friend quite like you.
Me. Yep.
You.
Top shelf.
Beyond the top shelf. You're on the roof. You're the balcony.
No. Top shelf.
Oh, yes, of course.
And we fade out of there. Okay. Piss pot Randy. I did not think. Good. PC name Piss pot Randy. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so then we'll cut over. So that happened over the course of hours. To the time you get to go back to the legitimate bastard. The place isn't in Aldahal, right? Like it was. You have it more towards. If I recall, it was like. What did we say you were having it again? Like it was more it
was in the commoners area. I don't remember the name of the exact. But yeah,
bastard.
The name of his bar. Like it's a
the name of the district.
The neighborhood. It's fine. I thought we made one up, but I'll check my notes later. But all I know is it wasn't in Giglio Hill. So that's all.
No, the legitimate bastard is very much in the commoners district for sure.
Okay. So your afternoon is taken up by that. Fortuna, then. And what lead is Fortuna chasing down?
I believe Fortuna and Solavita, if she's interested in coming with, we're first going to go, since we're right there, going to try to go talk to the canal watcher who was there right before everyone arrived, before we try to dig up some information on the dagger.
Okay. You would probably go to there's probably like a local guild hall, because you don't necessarily know if the person that's there now, the canal watch is a fairly common thing. So we'll say you go to like the guild hall. Both of you are, both of you have a point in it, I believe, in your allegiances and such. Yes. Likely they recognize you, especially in this neighborhood. They would know you. Maybe the broader city, other guild halls, or even the localized main house, they might not as much. But here they know the two of you, and so we'll say you get let in. Okay, and you're specifically asking to talk with like whoever was on duty in this area near the Veil Bridge.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't think any spends are required to do this. This is fine. But after a little bit of time, maybe you're waiting out in like sort of the common area. Think of it like it's like a kind of like a dormitory in some regards. It's like a sort of a chapter house, like a VFW or something like that. That's kind of how I'm envisioning it. If you're cool with that.
Yep.
And eventually you see a squat man missing one eye. And you can see there's a dark patch over top of it. And you can see like missing a couple fingers as well as he comes limping in. And he says, excuse me, madams. So they said you were looking for me?
Yes. We're trying to, looking to have a conversation with whoever it was that was posted at the Veiled Ridge earlier.
Oh, it's me. It's Mario.
I see. Very nice to meet you, Mario. We were wondering if, in your watch duties earlier, if you happened to see anything going on. I'm sure you've heard some of the goings on.
Also, specifically, we're looking for maybe a group of 6 that wandered in and a group of 5 that wandered out.
Well, it's interesting is you mentioned that. So, I've heard some shenanigans interrupted the parade. I didn't attend. I don't much like crowds, but I was there. I did early in the morning. Dawn was just coming, and I was a little busy at the time. Mr. Parado was there. We were doing tests on the canals, trying to suss out the water levels situation. So I didn't get like a great look. Are you guys using? So just to kind of go back, are we saying one of you is using like charm or command, or I don't know? You're using your allegiance. What am I talking about? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're good. He says, I didn't really recognize anyone by name, but I saw some folks come up the hill a bit. They took a different bridge, but they were dressed, in the black. I just thought they were caretakers, but they were. How many were there? There were like, they could have been 6. I guess that's true. Oh no, one of them was a Bonaventure. I remember seeing that.
Say.
Yeah, that would be them.
They've got the wigs, So I saw them.
Yeah.
They were going on up, and I saw them go in, and they were doing the thing, and Mr. Parado and I, we were doing our thing, and waters were tide going up, tide going down, and then, and you know what? And if I actually will say, if one of you makes the spend, I think that since you're using this to get information, I would say one of you can give the spend. You don't need to both.
I don't mind
do it.
doing the spend for this.
Okay, thank you.
He says, it was the Bonaventure fellow wasn't there. That's right. I remember saying that, and I thought that was strange. I said to Mr. Parada, I said, when did you see? And he just shook his head, and he was too busy. You know how the engineers are. Anyhow, but they were carrying something. Now that I think about it, a big sack. Two fellas. They had it on shoulders. Like they were carrying like a raft or a beam, like a dock worker. They're doing that.
It was not a raft or a beam. It was a statue.
One of our statues, which we're trying to find. Visits are trying to figure out where they took it.
Who would do such a thing? That's
I know,
sacrilegious.
it's terrible.
Who would harm a statue like that?
Trying to find out.
What
Pull
kind?
one of us out of our heaven.
What kind of terrible, depraved, bottom scum of the earth person would harm a statue like that? Take it from it, stealing it? That's just the.
That really is the question, And I'll lean in a little bit closer to Mario. We had heard, now this is, maybe you've heard of her as well, but the Canal Queen might have whomever is acting us are obviously not the real one. But whoever is claiming that name.
Canal Queen?
Queen? Yes, no? Okay. Yes, so someone like claiming that name has stolen our statue, we believe.
Did you tell Watch Inspector Arturo? Does she know?
We will, but we would like to, family matters. I know your brother Luigi tends to hang out with you a lot, and you go and do things a lot together. Same thing. We like to try to keep it in the family, deal with it. Because sometimes the Watch, they're a little bit too slap on the wrist. We want to make sure this does not happen again.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Well, if I can be of assistance, if my testimony can help your family find, I'd be absolutely.
It hurts us that they took such an important statue from us, you know?
You look pained. I was going to say that the two of you look just
tragic,
gruesomely pained.
My heart is broken.
I'm so very sorry. So sorry.
In case you haven't heard, there was the reason that you didn't see the other one come down is because there was a dead body that was found.
What? No. A dead body?
Yes.
The Bonaventure fella?
Yes. Well,
at least
maybe.
Made to look like a Bonaventure.
Dressed like a Bonaventure, if you catch my drift.
Oh.
What can you tell us? Those figures you saw, they were obviously big. Were there all men? Were they some women?
No,
did anybody walk with a limp? Small, large?
Well, no one walked with a limp, but one fella had the big hooked nose,
interesting.
They wore cowls, so you couldn't really see their faces too well, except the one fella. I said to Mr. Parata, I said, look at the beak on that fella. I remember it because it was protruding out from the cow. You can see it. Quite big. Yeah. Is that helpful?
Hopefully that detail will be very helpful. There are lots of different noses, but probably only so many people have that kind of nose.
That's a very specific nose. I appreciate your help.
I could pick that nose out of a lineup any day of the week.
Well, we might call on you to do it, yes.
I'll be more than anything to help out. The main one is after everything you've all done for the neighborhood, district, it's the least I can do.
Well, we always are happy to talk to and help out the canal watchers. You guys do good work. And, let me know if you know anyone else that's sunken down that needs a little bit of scuba diving, if you will.
Scuba.
It's okay. Never mind.
And real quick, Fortuna does. I don't have any points left to spend in Liar's Tale, but I do have Liar's Tale. Can I assess?
Right. So, just because you spend points in your investigative abilities doesn't mean you're no longer good at it. You're still good at it. Same with general abilities. You're still good at these things. It's just you don't have the extra bonuses.
The extras.
He's seeming, as far as you can tell, he seems genuine. A fairly earnest, genuine guy. Yeah.
Okay. It was the vibe I was getting. I just wanted to make sure to
It's a good question.
Yes. Before we
left. Don't have that, so I can't.
He's just a guy who, works in plumbing, canals, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Him and his brother, good friends with the Malwan family.
Well, you're upper shelf. We're, medium shelf.
Yes.
Okay.
We appreciate you. We might contact you about identifying the large hook nose, the beak, if you will.
Do you want me to go say the Watchmaster?
No, we're as we
volunteer my testimony. Let them know that I spoke with you and that you're on it.
We will let them know that you spoke with us and that you are available. We like to put everything together in a nice, neat package for the Watch when we talk to them.
Yes.
Orderly. That's good.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let there be no doubt in any information we provide, so they get the right person immediately.
You want everything pieced together so nothing leaks. I got you. Understood.
Yes. No leaks. No leaks whatsoever. Thank you very much for your service.
So, fade out of there. And we'll check in on Arkadiy. What is Arkadiy following? What lead is he following up?
So Arkadiy, he quickly disappears, and you see him resurface in the tangle. He's in the sunken arena because he knows his dear friend Helena spends her afternoons there as a spotter for her guild, watching the gladiatorial combats, making sure that no one is throwing fight, or no one who shouldn't be throwing fight is throwing fight. So you see Arkadiy sidle up next to her. He's got a broadsheet, and tucked in the broadsheet, he has pulled out a pouch of some, reasonable amount of coinage. He sits down next to her and he slides it over. He says, "Oh, dear Helena, it is so good to see you again. You look absolutely radiant this afternoon."
She looks down on it and she looks at you. She's got like smudge on her face and she kind of narrows her eyes because she can smell what you're doing. And she says, "Just out with it, Arcadiy. What is it you want?"
"You wound me. Can I not just come to see a dear friend? But you're right. I will not waste your time. I know you're a busy woman. I have things that I would like to ask you. Listen, my adopted, the main Wallen family, my cousins, they have run into a bit of a problem today at the parade. You may have heard about it already. I don't know how good your information is, but
Ronaldo?
it appears..."
Not really our scene.
I know, but apparently the smuggler or thief who has taken the name of the Canal Queen has been working against my family's interests. So I'm trying to track down someone who might put me in contact with someone within the Canal Queen's organization, so I can try to find an accord with them to figure out what it is that she wants in exchange for leaving my family alone.
Helena kind of looks at the money and looks at you. Eyes kind of narrow. So that answers that question then. We'd heard some rumors that whoever's calling themselves this has been making some moves up in your neck of the woods. Never really understood exactly where her territory was other than the canals themselves. She's, whoever she is or he is or they are, whoever it might be, they clearly have got some sort of very deep understanding of all the canals, the basements, how the water works like arteries and veins coursing through the city itself. We've been hearing some chatter that she's making a move on some nobles up in Alderhall. Plenty to steal, and apparently there's all manner of buried secrets that she's looking to unearth for, I suppose, blackmail, something of that sort. No one really knew exactly which family she was targeting, but I guess we know now, or at least we know what neighborhood. As for a contact, well, that's gonna be pretty hard. Hard to have a contact with somebody who doesn't exist. It's just a figment of someone's imagination. Yeah.
Right. I tell you, they used to say that I was but a figment of someone's imagination. But you and I both know that some imaginations produce very real monsters. And we know that this Canal Queen. She is real. She just steals legends' names. So I need breadcrumbs at least to lead me to her.
Well, you're not gonna like it, but if you want to ask around, I heard some stories that there was a group of people who were causing some trouble at the Tarnished Coin over in the Foreign District. And they were tossing her name around, which is not something that you really do in certain locations unless you mean it. So if I were gonna look anywhere for an avenue to find a contact, I'd start there. But be careful. Most of the people who deal with whoever this is, they end up floating by in the water. I don't want to look down one of these days and see you floating past my spot.
My dear Lynne, would you at least cry a tear for me if you see my floating body?
She looks at the bag of coins. Yeah, a few, I suppose.
This is good. Thank you. I head out to talk to the family and then head to Tarnished Coin to see if I can follow lead. Keep ear to the ground. If you hear something else, you know where to find me. I am good for coin or jobs if you need assistance. So
okay. You, good luck, I guess. Hope we see each other again.
So do I, dear.
So we see her like slowly reach over, grab whatever coins you might have had, kind of tuck it away, and we see Arkadiy move off, walk over a bridge, and sort of heading back in the direction of Alderhall. And since everyone followed the lead, I feel like we'll go ahead and we'll end it there for tonight, as we are at time. Everyone got a lead. We got Fortuna and Sylvita follow one, Chauncey and Arkadiy. And we'll call it there. And we'll pick up in well, probably not next week, actually, because next week is, we got Christmas that we're dealing with, or probably the week after. I think that's the target. All right.
Yay.
Yay!
Okay.
We are moving things right along.
There you go. Fantastic.
Master investigators.
Piss Pot Randy.
Yeah,
Piss Pot Randy.
It's clearly
choice.
like
it's an
Ranhelio.
old Seventh Seas character.
It's probably like, I'm Blandalizio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blandalizio. Yeah, there it is. But folks just call me Piss Pot Randy.
Yeah.
I can't do it. All right, well, that's cool. Sorry we didn't have long tonight. Hopefully, well, we tried to get the info out nonetheless, because I know that was a big, that was definitely a juicy lead there, so I didn't want it to go
sure.
another week without getting it. But next time around, hopefully we'll have everybody. But that's it. Let's go ahead and let's do some closing plugs, and then we will get on out of here. I'm going to start with Aaron. If got anything going on with Garblag?
Not next week. Once again, Christmas has pretty much shut everything down. But the following week, Tuesday, we should be back to Electric States on Garblag Games YouTube channel, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Then on Wednesday, we may be starting up Judge Dredd. I'm not sure that I will be in that one because of work commitments. And then probably not that week, but within a few weeks, we'll be back with some more One Ring on Thursday.
Fantastic. We were just talking about Judge Dredd today in the Discord, in the Lollygagging Discord. We're talking about Stallone, and like Judge Dredd came up a little bit, so that was good. Fantastic. Okay, Melissa, I believe we had some raids. If you, I'm
Yes,
sorry I
we
didn't
did.
catch them.
Yeah. Working top to bottom, we had Captain Karayan and Table of Horrors.
John?
And,
Nice.
yeah. And Matt in a Hat and DM Nix.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, John. Thanks, Table of Horrors, Demon X, and Matt Nat. Make sure you're following all those channels. We really do appreciate it. Sorry I didn't call you out during the play. Okay, as for us, what do we got? Tomorrow night, we've got our Merry Autumn special. We've been doing this for the last couple of years. We've been playing a one-shot of Electric Bastion Land every December for the holidays. So we're going to do another one because they're ridiculous. So that's tomorrow night. Jeremy weaseled his way in, so you'll see him.
I was a selfish little prick. I was like,
Another one, please let me join.
Then on Saturday, we don't have our normal Call of Cthulhu. Instead, 3 hours earlier, we are going to be playing some Discworld, and you'll see myself, you see Melissa, and you'll see Aaron, who's going to join Stephen and Ashley as well. So we're going to be playing a one-shot of Discworld, which is coming out from Modiphius soonish. I know the quick starts out, but Richard from Garblag is going to come over and give us that one shot, kind of loosely tying it together in a way. Monday, I think we are planning to do Other Skate, so you should see that. But otherwise, I think next week we're kind of off because of the holiday, obviously. So nothing on Tuesday, nothing on Wednesday, and nothing on Thursday. Whether or not we decide to do something random on Friday and get back to Call of Cthulhu, not yet sure. So just check the Discord, and I'll probably have announcements about that when the time comes. But that's it. Let's go ahead and raid somebody. We're going to raid Insomnia Night RPG as they are playing some D&D. So let's go see what they're up to. Have a great rest of the night, everybody. If you're watching this later, or if you're listening to this later, we appreciate it as well. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Good night.
Arrivederci.